Let's see, guys, hat. Yeah, I wear all the hats, so you're going to see a lot of crazy things like this. We got all kinds of stuff going on. AC is still down, but our guy is coming this afternoon. God knows for me, afternoon ends at 5, but others it's 9 and 10 or tomorrow. This is what I had yesterday. Luckily, we are having a bit of a cool streak. Um, I bless God for all of that. If you've just joined me, hey, you've got the Wicked Lady Hippy. We're at the bar live. This is my bar, and it's called the Wicked Lady Hippy. Thank you. We got live chat up, coming up anyway. We've got comments all up here. If you got any, throw them in there. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. I don't make money doing this. Not that I'm averse to making money. I just don't. I think this is the neatest thing since, I don't know, since Disney opened. I'm rather young. Yeah. My age is a state secret, for God's sake. We are at a bar. So what can you expect? I quit smoking years ago. My husband allows me when I'm on my podcast to have some of my, one of these, or part of my little cigarillos. He likes them because they go out if I'm talking, which when I'm on here, I'm always talking. Let's see, we got an Army veteran here, published author. Unless somebody tells me they want me to drop a clip, I usually don't. I talk about anything and everything to everybody. So if you want to talk about, you want to do anything, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments, say something. We're all good out here. It's Masters Week down here in Augusta, Georgia. I am not, as you can tell, from Georgia. Army vet's a clue. Son was born in Heidelberg, Germany. My grandson is also an Army veteran. Maybe a little too much information there. So I get up here and do the same thing that I have done for, I don't know, I've been a hippie since, well, I grew up. I was a hippie growing up. Yeah, the Jetsons were cool. It's what this is like. We can get on here and talk about anything. We don't have to be at a friend's party. And it was always my house for the party. And I'm going to say, riddle me that, but then I paid for everything. So, yeah, I managed that fairly well. I'm charging people to come in the door. Had the best toga party ever back in the 80s. They had just come out with Velcro, and we had 30-odd kegs. You had to pay $2 to meet and get a stamp to get in the door. My kid was stamping hands. Probably illegal now. It's the area of Fort Sam. And they would come in and we'd all, we had a lot of people come through. And they had come out with the Velcro on towels, apparently. We ladies didn't know that. It was a toga party. And you couldn't get in unless you had a toga on. Kind of like college. We were young, we're going to say. So most of the men showed up with Velcro towels. And I can assure you those did not last long. Men don't run very fast if Steve's naked and it's a girl running flat out with their towel who happens to be an Army sergeant. She's not at the party. So we didn't have enough film back those days. There wasn't 15 phones rather, that we could point at them. So you just have to believe me whether it's true or false, I guess. So I have these when I'm up here again. You'll see me light this probably 100 times in this 1 hour I use to come out and say, hey to everybody, hippies unite, for God's sakes. Let's get up here and enjoy what they've got going on here. That's pretty. My son bought me. And they're roses, and they are so pretty. They're not real. They're those. I don't know if you can see them well enough, and my camera's probably not picking up enough light. But yeah, they glow and sparkle. And he knows. He says all the time, Mom likes it if there's. She says if it's got glitter, Mom's wearing it. And I can't argue with the boy. Well, I used to, but yeah, you get to. They get to some point, you go, I'm tired. You're wrong, but go ahead. Which is actually funnier, especially when they have kids. And they, I have my grandson a lot, we'll put it that way. And I mean, he was a mess. So he was always at Grandma's cleaning. And my son knew that was the punishment. It was when I was growing up that my parents, I was adopted at 9, World War II, Depression, all that. We had 1,500 fruit trees in our yard. We had a huge garden. We didn't have to buy anything but like bananas, some cereal, and that was new. Brand new. You didn't have 15,000. No, you had cornflakes, cornflakes, oatmeal in the winter, and rice in the winter. We ate rice with sugar and let's put it this way. I'm from Chicago, and the people down here freaked the hell out when they saw me eat rice's cereal with cream and sugar and everything. They just nutted up. They eat rice, but they eat it plain. I was like, what's wrong with you people? And they ate, what is it that I don't eat? Grits. And I don't eat grits. I don't like them. There's just little things between us Northerners and Southerners that still doesn't get along. I've been married to one for a long time now, decades. Met him down here when the real family found me through, well, a long story. I need a book about that. So they found me. The younger sister was freaking, you got to come down because I'm going down, which is not actually true, but I made it and ended up taking the brother of the person who found me and my sister was married to my half brother. So she was my sister-in-law. And I met my brother-in-law, my husband now, through her. They ended up when I moved into San Antonio about a year later. We married about 4 years later, so they got over it, We ended up down here because he has a daughter. I have a stepdaughter, and she got 3 great kids. She's got a son that's in the Army. He had remembered all the stories that I used to tell about Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. And instead of telling us he was going to do it, he went in as a medic because he knew he'd get to Fort Sam for training. And after he was all done, and he had his orders for Korea, he called us to say he was going to Korea and tell us that all my stories were even better. Once you see them, it's great kids. And my grandson, he would tell his friends, and I met all of his friends basically like I did my sons. And it was, if Grandma can wear Army boots, I can too. Because I shoved him into ROTC at freshman year. He needed the discipline. He was all over the place. Kids are. I was very disciplined being raised by a World War IIer. There was, you didn't have a lot of wiggle room around there. People showed up at your house. You didn't know who they were. They might have been relatives, but you got the flock out of there. You disappeared because kids, they didn't, and they were smart. They didn't do kids around there. So I'm hoping all these, cheers. I want the hippies to unite. Get up here and use this tech. Come talk to me. There's got to be all kinds of stuff to talk about. We used to talk about the barcode, for God's sakes. Look at it now. People are actually paying for the groceries with a chip in their hand. I kid you not. They put it in the military in the U.S. If you haven't known about it, Google it or tell me. I'll put a clip in. That's a little too close for comfort for me. Yes. I try to match whatever outfit I'm wearing because I have a lot of stemware, and there's usually just me and some of the guys here. And the guys don't drink out of stemware. And I love this. My husband spoils me with this. He buys me my little airplane bottles, and these are the whiskey fireballs. So when you're drinking them, there's this huge burst of cinnamon at the end, which is awesome. I'm trying not to sound like I'm in a tin can, but like I said, I wear all of the hats here. And I've got somebody coming, I think, at some point today we think it needs just Freon, but we don't know. And we're just happy because this is the 4th unit in 15 years that we've put in. So it'll be nice if they don't have to jerk it out and do another one. Last time they had to do that, this wall behind me had to be put back together again. This is the back end. I've never seen a house that's developed like this one. We took this one instead of that house that we were going to buy on the lake because our kids, well, my son and his, at that time, wife, they were married by then, had bought this home. And we were still down below Macon. And I was about ready to retire. My husband was about ready to retire. So we were looking into the home at the lake because he likes to fish. Still does. And they asked us to take this home, their starter home, because there was a new home being built in Grovetown, which is an exit away from us and right on the base. And just like we're at the base on one gate, this one is another gate that they built in and opened because they took in people from Kelly. I can't remember. I think it was Lackland. It's either Lackland or Kelly Air Force Base because those were in San Antonio. There were 4 Air Force bases and one Army when I was there. No wonder we had fun. Yeah, that total party I'll never forget. You just don't know. Well, most of the women couldn't even chase them. Like I said, we just fell down laughing. Most of them, of course, were half in the wind before they got the courage to go get the towels. So I'm a little foggy. I'm not sure if I collected any or not. There was a game when I started to see who had the most towels. I'm evil. They nicknamed me Wicked on my first day at boot camp. And I joined after ROTC, college, all that. Joined the WAC Corps. I'm 17. They had to sign for me. Yeah, I went through stuff real fast when I was a kid. I was reading college of about 9, gives you an idea. So I ranked what I got there. And I was from Chicago, Illinois, and my drill sergeant was like this. Just it wasn't on a tablet. He was shuffling papers because he had said, we jump out of helicopters and kill people. We'd been up for 4 days and nights. I fell out laughing like he just said he was the biggest clown in the world. I don't know what it was, but you get goofy after a couple of days and no sleep. We were on 4 and I just busted it. And he says, hey, bullet. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm still trying not to get like, and they are too by this point. He said, you from Chicago? And I said, yes, sir. And of course you had to say yes, drill sergeant. And he's like, oh, are you sure you didn't do something different was you there all your life? I'm 17. Where else would I be? No, I was jetting around. I guess people do that now. And I was like, yes, drill sergeant. He says, look at here, Wicked. You don't have a record. It's like, no, sir, drill sergeant. I tried hard to avoid that. And you're my personal assistant, and your name now is Wicked. I was like, okay. They had told us we didn't have to stay because when we got on that plane, we were going to be a WAC. When we got off the plane, we were not at Fort McClellan, Alabama, which is where we thought we were headed. They had changed our orders apparently in midair and landed us at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, at Columbia, the city of Columbia. And so they told us, you can go, we'll fly you back home and everything. No record or anything. You don't have to stay because you have to be a soldier. You have to train with the men and you'll be living in your own space, but you'll be living, alongside the men. It was like an apartment building stacked kind of thing. And we were Bravo 3rd Battalion, the women that I served with her. And it was fun as hell. I'm not going to sit here and waste more time because I've wasted enough. But check out Private Benjamin. Goldie Hawn's got my part. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. We had a whole lot of fun. Yeah, the only place you could drink was the NCO club, and they was closed on Sundays. So that's when you had that day off all pumpkin, pretty much wherever you wanted. But some people went to see the chaplain, and they had the bowling alley, and you could buy beer at the bowling alley on a Sunday. So you couldn't even get in there, and people are buying you beers and passing them down. And so I ended up at Fort Sam Houston, Texas, in San Antonio, as my first duty station. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, my second station, second one, I went on overseas into Germany. I sure did well leave, and I was having a baby. And like I said, he was born in Heidelberg, and it was different there. They were pretty serious at times, but I think no matter where you are, you find a way to relieve like tension. So. I hated that I left it. They gave me orders to Korea. Believe it or not, it's a Korea thing. I said, it's spanning 3 decades. How is that? And I refused to turn over custody of my son to my mother-in-law. It wasn't just, him stay with her for a while. I served almost 2 years. It was actually legally signing custody to him. And I would not sign custody to anybody. That was my kid. I was adopted. That was my child. And I wasn't supposed to be able to have a child. He wasn't supposed to be able to have a child. We had a kid. And we didn't have marriage for long, but we had that baby. And of course, I kept the baby. I walked out. It was up to me, to renew or not. And I wasn't signing up for my kid. And I went in instead. The mother-in-law wanted me to come to D.C. She lived in D.C. and she worked at the agriculture building. Asked me to join her there since I got out, and so that she could see her grandson, of course. I was pretty leery even that way. But I sure wasn't going to turn over custody. I didn't care what was going on. I got there, and I ended up. She used her powers that be, and I was second highest civil rank I could hold, and I worked under her. And she started the food stamp program, and she and I worked together on it. Back when it was funny money, called it funny money, monopoly money. So yeah, there's a lot of firsts I had. I kicked that door down. We were the first women to train with the men, and it was freaking frightening, scary, fun, awesome. You had no neck after 6 weeks. I don't know how they do that, but the small ones, I'm talking, I wasn't 100 pounds. I'm 5'2", although I have gained that 100 pounds. I had a bad accident, was on my rear end for a year after surgeries and all that. I'm finally able to get around. Yay. This is why nobody's seen me for a little while. I did put a couple in to let y'all know. Had to go to a second channel now, and I haven't found my audience yet. So those of you, if you see me, tell somebody, get a hippie. If you are in my age group, and I'm not telling you what that is, it's a state secret. You don't know where the hippies are. Those of us who are in jail for, the cannabis crimes. They had all those Oreos, and they made it a crime. So y'all know who we are, where we're at, what we're doing. Come on. I used to party with the Dallas Cowboys, for God's sakes. I sat at Watergate Hotel and drank drinks with the senators and people from the House of Representatives. I had one senator in particular, I just thought he was so cute. He was always telling me, shh, quiet, they're going to hear you, they'll kill you, you're going to die. Won't say who it was. And the Watergate Hotel isn't even there anymore. Back in the day, this is the 80s, we called it the two martini and value of lunch. Nobody ate. They just drank and I said, my whiskey on the rocks. I'm not paying somebody for some fruit cocktail. If I want to drink, I want to give me some good scotch, some good whiskey. I can get the hooch out. If I want fruit juice, I'll have someone as a chaser. And that's why they call me wicked. Like I said, y'all know the hippies. Now, some of them have tried to brand me as a baby boomer. Do I look like a baby boomer? Show of hands. I got time. Do I look like a hood? I look like a hippie. I've asked this question. There are people around my bar half the time that I'm doing this, they will not go on camera. A lot of them, I've tried to catch them, swing the camera. So now they see me at the bar with the equipment on. They run up to the man cave. We have 2 RVs outside, and then we have 2 areas up home. Upstairs that we turned into apartments. It was during the pandemic, and my grandson just got back from Korea, and so we turned them. It's not like you could cook up there, but you had the microwave, you had the refrigerator, and all that, and you could my grandson would just call and have it ordered, and they bring it to the door. The damnedest thing. So I saw a couple of things. I love the shorts they're putting on. All right, they're extending things here now, and I needed to go on. Yeah, I've lost where I was. I did talk a little bit about the Pope yesterday. When I heard it on the news, I thought I would faint. I have never fainted in my life. Could not do it. When I first started coming back, I called these my stiffness because growing up, the women that were my parents' age, that's the family would come over at certain times of the year, like Labor Day and stuff. And the women would faint. And they'd never fall on the floor, but they'd faint. Some man would kind of catch him and ease him into the chair. And then they'd say, go get it, go get the hooch. That's where I got that term from. My adopted dad used to run moonshine. So you know, that boy drank. And so the women then, they give him 1 or 2 shots or whatever the hell was up there. Brandy, scotch, I don't know. Just bring the bottle. And some of the other women would join them, and they called them stiffeners, because the women would go, okay, I'm good now, and go, think I'll go ahead and make dinner. I'll try to go make dinner. And they'd say, here, have another one. No, and they'd get a damn good dinner then. But in my entire life, I've never been able to faint. When I had this horrible accident and my leg was just in pieces, and I screamed a lot. I didn't cry, but I screamed a lot at certain times, like when they were moving me without stabilizing the leg at all. At all. They put nothing on that leg. And then they threw a sheet underneath me, and it took them 3 hours to get somebody there that could do pain medicine so they could put the sheet under me and carry me out and set me on the gurney. So, yeah, I'm in agonizing pain for 3 hours. And the guy says, I'll give you half of this now and the other half in the ambulance. And I thought, what's his name? I need him. Where's he live? They go frown on it if I hit him. I'm like, I bet I'll feel better if I hit this bitch. That boy did not get close enough for me to hit him. I screamed the whole way. They were putting me on the sheet. I screamed all the way out when they carried me. I screamed when they put me on the gurney. I screamed some more when they put the gurney on the ambulance. Then they gave me the other half. I was fine then. I was talking to everybody. I don't even know it was broken anymore in all those places. So, yeah, you don't want to do that. And it was so strange for me because I had lost my best friend about 3-4 years before this happened. This is about 2 years ago now. I don't know what it is, but my lips keep drying out, and it's not winter anymore, so pardon me. But yeah, she had broke her ankle like that, and my ankle was broken like that. But I also had the leg was just it was 15 hours of surgery, which was supposed to be done on. It was 2 weeks later at the VA, of course, and Hurricane Helene went through. So there was no surgery because everything was down in Augusta. Nothing was working. The VA was on backup generators, but they could only run the ER. And so, and they could barely run that. And I had no pain medication, didn't treat pain. One boy actually told me, bones don't hurt when they break. I will kill you where you stand. My husband's pulling me back in the wheelchair. I'm lunging. You can come on into the ER. We'll give you a little pain medicine for a couple of days to get you through. And I'm like, have you seen Augusta? We can't even get to you. We'd have to walk around trees maybe, but it was just terrible. We were shocked that none of our neighbors got damaged. And all of our trees, all of us had trees down everywhere. We had 3 big glass tables on the front porch and back porch and the grill and all that. It took out my greenhouse. That was the only thing. And we have 2 huge storage sheds in our backyard. Looks like the barns, one with red and the white painting. And those are not inexpensive. I think they're around $6,000 when I got it, and it was full. And I'm like, oh my God, and I couldn't see any of it because I couldn't move. You could only get me into a wheelchair, kind of up to a bath, and that was the extent. You couldn't move me around. And so my husband, he says, I'm going out because we could hear the rain hitting the wall on the master bedroom. We've lived here 15 years and we've been through some storms and we have never heard it hit the side of that wall. And the huge RV, the one like a Wonder Lodge, was there in that driveway. The car was in front of it, and behind the big one was the other tow RV, the pull along, and it's pretty big. I mean, it wasn't real small, but so it kind of covered the house, especially the large RV. This is not it's 2 stories, but it's not really that tall. And I think we would have had major damage on that side of the house had those vehicles not been there. My husband said he couldn't even get out the door. The wind was so bad at that point. This was at 5 or so in the morning, and we had been up and talking to the VA because they were calling me at 3:30, and surgery was supposed to be at 5:30, so it's going to leave at 4:30. And they called. We were just about to get to the car. Wish they had called beforehand. So hard to move me. And they said, no, we're down. We're just down. Nobody's coming in. Nobody's getting out. And so we stopped before we actually could get on the road. And we could open the door at least at that point. We could actually get out. I don't know how bad it would have been had we tried to actually maneuver through there. My husband managed to do it that morning and go get supplies. We thought we were smart because they said it was just a small rain event. And I had Walmart deliver pet supplies and litter and all that stuff just in case. So we'd have to run out in the rain and all that. I had, a Walmart Plus and all these Plus places. So they delivered free. And we thought we were great. And oh my God, at the damage. not just to us or just this suburb, everywhere in Augusta, the whole city was down. And it took 2 weeks to get the power even back up. And it took even longer than that to get the VA up and running. So a month later, after my accident, is when they got me, the VA loaned me out to the University of Augusta. And they were awesome. I had an appointment. They gave me the appointment like the next day, and I went in. And then the surgeon that came in, he's so young, I thought, and he came up and he got my chart and he said, you've been like this for a month? And I said, yeah, it's been rough. And you can see not any medicine, hardly no pain medicine, really. And even he was after the surgery of 15 hours, it was take Tylenol. And you want to just hit him in the head with a hammer and say, here's some Tylenol. And they frown on that. But he was young. And he said, no, a month they've left you this way. You will be in the morning. Can you get back here at 3:30 a.m.? At this point, it was about 5. And I said, sure can. He said, all right, I got to have some tests run for you, EKG and stuff. But you be here. You're going in first thing in the morning at 5:30. This a month. He just can go to that. Really sweet guy. Nice, really nice guy. Even called in my pain medication, and then called me on the phone to say he was sorry he'd gone in to wash up and scrub up because he had surgery, and he remained out there still doing his scrubbing up, and remembered that he had called in that meds for me. So he called them in, and he quit what he was doing. He went out, got the phone call, and called me, apologized, and then went back to scrub up to do his patient. That's a good guy. I had 3 surgeons. It was a mess. It was a mess. I have more metal than probably most cars do right now. But it works. I can walk. The ankle wasn't even attached anymore. But it was odd because the same thing nearly had happened to a friend of mine, like I said, but it was just her ankle. It wasn't her ankle ended 3 or 4 places in her leg and, all that. But she did have a lot of hardware in her ankle like I did. I got more hardware in my ankle literally than I do. You've only got the 2 bones in the leg, but you can break them in multiple places. I found out, which I actually knew because I had trained to be a nurse. Because I thought I was going to be a whack, and instead I was regular. Ain't there, bravo? Y'all think I'm drinking too much? You got to remember these are tiny bottles, and my shit's on the rock, so it's not what you think. Although it may be later. Start talking about the Pope because he's from Chicago, Illinois. Threw me for a loop. Like I said, couldn't pass out. I just kept staring at the TV, going, "Yep, I've seen it all now." They got a Pope from Chicago, Illinois. Are you kidding? You seen what Chicago is lately? Holy crap. I mean, I left at 17, for God's sakes. It couldn't have been that great. Had great museums and stuff, but again, I was like, but even an American Pope, they got him from Chicago. And I was like, well, this ought to be interesting. And it's been interesting. Apparently, Donald Trump, hey, Donnie, President Trump, love you, babe. I call him Donnie. If you can call Kid Rock Bob, I can call you Donnie. It's like, I call it Gator Gitmo. That's mine, don't steal it. You can call it Alcatraz all you want. It's Gator Gitmo to me. I love that place. I wish they'd get the rest of these people out of Minnesota instead of just picking up their Lamborghinis. Lamborghinis, now it's for the children. It's for the children. I'm like, what children? You strap them to the hood? How? Gotta get the kids. How? How you getting these kids? I love this. And it's a 23-year-old podcaster / journalist that found. I ran a newspaper myself, so I also am like press for life. And I did that newspaper almost by myself for 3 years. Of course, other people get the credit for that. They always do it while I'm out of business. So it's true. It's true. So I'm thinking the Pope. Yeah, the Pope. Well, Donnie, he's always out there. He's got to say something. And a couple of times they threw him on there and had a meme of him as the Pope. I loved it. That was funny as shit. And I heard Gulf of America. I couldn't stop laughing. I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. The Hillary's reaction was the same as mine. And Bill was like, I was at Jimmy Carter's funeral. She found out he named it the Gulf of America. I don't know, I mean, he might have said it. She lost it. She did the same thing I did when I was in boot camp and couldn't stop laughing. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when she found out a woman was BP. Oh, some of this stuff cracks me up. So I heard the day before yesterday that the Pope is talking back to our president. I got some words for the Pope. I was raised Catholic. I have looked into a lot of denominations. I'm not sure which one was the false church that Jesus talked about in the Bible, but I'm not going to think if you got to kiss a ring, that is probably the true church. But it's a big church. It's got a lot of stuff. I've been there. I took my son to be blessed there and baptized there because I was in Europe. It's just like driving from here to Alabama. You go from Germany to Italy. It's a lot of fun, guys. You should try it. So, of course, you know, and I said, okay, that's not what popes do. And I love Pope John Paul II. Well, Saint Pope. He's Saint Pope John Paul II now. But I liked him, and I grew up with him. And that was great. No, I did not go kiss a ring. When I got my son baptized, if somebody else came out and they said it's the name of the Pope, to give you a little medal, and that's it. Take a little water on their heads, which still pissed my kid off. I had one kid. And I was like, okay. you know, you got to stick to religion there, Pope. You don't try to tell a president that this is how they should do things. They got to accept everybody and love everybody. Let me explain something to you, Pope, sir. These are the people that have been blowing people to hell back for 47, as they say, years. I think it's more like 50, 60 years. The PLO are the ones that started hijacking the planes back in the day. I can't remember what year it was that they had the Olympics in Germany, and the PLO went in and killed all of the Jewish or Israeli team. And that was just the beginning. They hit the barracks in Beirut and killed 283 or whatever it was, 280 some odd of our soldiers in their sleep because they bombed the building. And that wasn't a small building. It was a quad like it was at Fort Sam Houston. You got 300-400 people sleeping up in there. They never knew what hit them when they died. That was the 80s. Okay, and if you got the Houthis, it was Iran. It did be ISIS, whoever, Hamas. All of those are funded by Iran. It was time, and then I find out. Well, I saw Obama sending billions of dollars to him. I'm like, I was pulling my hair out. This is an oil-rich country that the people don't even have to work; they just get a check, and we're sending them money. I'm like, what? I was pulling my hair. And then I find out that Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and the Clintons had done enough damage, I thought, in the 16 years they reigned as governor and president. I say they because I believe she ran that show. Because when they tell you this stained skirt is your husband doing this girl in the Oval Office and she's still standing next to you smiling, I'm scared of her. You're not squaring that circle, I'm telling you. But yeah, so I'm like, what the hell? The Secretary of State, Clinton, they send uranium. Now, even I know that uranium is kind of in those bombs. That kind of makes a weapon. That doesn't mean it's nuclear power. That means it's a nuclear weapon. You just need a method of delivery, depending on the size of what you're going to send. And we send them this. Again, pulling my hair around the house screaming. My husband laughs at me because I'm constantly screaming at the TV. And I'm always right. And everybody ever argues with me. So I was like, okay. And the Pope's trying to do stuff about politics. I'm like, that's not your game there, doll. I got news for you, Cupcake. Your thing is religion, and you stick with that. And hopefully everybody will just love their neighbor. But we gonna make sure they can't nuke them first, because they've done said they done promised that they will nuke these people. They would, of course, wipe Israel out first, but they were also going to go, and it had come back to these other nations. Other Arab nations were on the list: Kuwait, Qatar, all of them. UAE, what is it, AV, whatever it is, the conglomeration there. Uh, it, and they were on the phone to Donnie going, they're going to have a bomb in a month or so that they can deliver easily, not just to Israel, but they don't like the fact that we ain't killing folks. Seriously. The Arabs were not, I don't think exact Muslim, but they tried pretty hard, it looked like to me. I didn't see too many women driving, going to university, walking around in a miniskirt. You do see that here. They don't have those headscarves on. They are in a miniskirt. Meanwhile, you got the college kids all up there in the burkas and shit going, oh yeah, we just love this. Talk to a woman from Iran if you can. Because if they made one mistake, if one strand of hair came out, they mass raped them and then killed them. Because in the Quran that they worship, it says you have to die for an infidel. But the other thing is, there aren't any women who are not virgins. Virgins go to hell. I mean, virgins go to heaven. And if you're not a virgin, you go to hell, basically. I'm wondering where they got the 72 virgins, because they were killing a lot of girls. But, you didn't kill them first. You had to make sure, that they went to hell. Because that's why they gang raped them. That's the excuse they give anyway. So I don't know what these college girls are being taught. Personally, I'd be teaching them lots of lessons if they were my kids. My kid called me when the universe was doing all this shit. He's like, "You killed me, Mom, wouldn't you?" I was like, "Oh yeah, slowly." I think you get my money back first. I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't. Where the hell were the parents? And I go, "Where are the parents?" And suddenly there's some old people out there with signs. I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." And then I said, where's the faculty? And there are women and men being drug out by the police saying, "Call my office." They're arresting me. I mean, there were days I just fell over laughing. I think some days I just fell down into my chair because I was shocked that this was actually going on, that they were doing this. And think if you were a Jewish student there, and you're there when October 7th comes down, and it's the same night, they're out there praising the Palestinians for killing 3,000 people, a couple thousand kids at a rave. And I wanted to know where the IDF was. I also wanted to know whose stupid idea was it to put these kids in a desert next to Gaza Strip with a chain link fence that I could have got over. And I'm not that young, but thank you for thinking so. Why did they put these people out there? And then they were telling people, and a lot of them died trying to get people in the cars, people, families getting the text and trying to get down there and died too. And several off-duty IDF, grabbed their own personal weapons if they had them. Some didn't have them. One boy went 3 times in. The 4th time, he didn't come back. They had killed him on that 4th run. Got people out 3 times. That was in the desert where they were at. It's a desert. Where are you going to fucking hide? Under a rock that's this big? These guys came in. Oh my God, oh my God. And I still can't get over it. And it's been several years. And they shielded the rest of the world from knowing the horror, the full horror of what was done. They did play the one phone call where the kid goes home to dad and brags of killing 7 or 8 Israelis with his own hands. It's just sick. It's evil. I can't find an adjective that's good enough to explain it. And I can't find any adjectives to attach to anybody that's out there marching and saying that they need to have their own state. They gave them this. The Israelis literally knocked down houses, pulled people out screaming and crying, their own people, and relocated them and gave it to them. And that wasn't good enough. And neither was killing these kids. It wasn't like they just shot them. for God's sakes. That would have been a kindness. It's not something they did. They were not kind, I'll put it that way. And so it turns out that the king of Saudi Arabia liked him. He wasn't out there. Oh, there's my husband. I always try to warn y'all, they're coming in. I did tell y'all they're going to come fix the air conditioner today. I've only got about 20 minutes, but I may log off early because apparently they're coming in. Not everybody, like I said, likes to be on camera. Yeah, I know. Well, we don't know how much he's going to charge. He charges a lot. Oh, cheers. That's cinnamon. You just got to love the cinnamon. Oh, God. Oh. But I did clean my house up today a little bit. Not a lot. I'm old. I get up here. I only get up here every other day. So through the week, it's only 3 days a week. And I used to come out every day at noon. And after I got hurt, I don't know why. I just don't have the energy I once had. And so I take my little stiffeners here, have my little cigar, which, as you can see, never gets fully smoked. But I do love an excuse. So, got the Pope out the way. Bill Maher, hey, babe, been watching you. You know, Johnny Carson, been watching you forever. Love you. He's got a bar, too. I thought it was going to be kind of hey, I'll be different. I'll be at home at the bar. Everybody's got a bar. Shay, Bill Maher, and Joe Rogan. They may not have a bar, but like me and and Bill, we actually are at our bar. Joe has a nice place, and he has enough to set up a bar within there with whatever people want. Loved it when he was out there with Danny Aykroyd. Loved Danny Aykroyd. Coneheads, who are you going to call? That's the other thing I like to talk about is anything paranormal, because it's the 21st century, which I also can't believe, but I straddled 2 centuries. So I went from, if you wanted to get somewhere, you got on a bicycle or you walked, and you knew where everybody was, all your friends was, because that's where the bikes was. Almost everybody had a bike. Roller skates, ice skates. In the winter, we used to do a lot of ice skating. I still miss that. Don't miss the rest of it. I've been down there where I had to drive through a blizzard one time with my brother. My mother was in the hospital, and I had just flown in from Germany. I'm like, I just left this shit. I'm back here. The brother's snoozing. I'm like, Jesus, I drove a tank, but I mean, and then some escapades. I could, again, write another book. Say, what else was that I was going to reach out to everybody about? Oh, yeah, on the paranormal. I'd like to see if anybody doesn't believe in the paranormal. I've seen several people jump up and say, oh, this many people believe the paranormal is real. I want to see who doesn't believe it's real. I want to talk to y'all. I got some stories I could tell y'all. You would not believe how old Europe is and how many folk have died there. It ain't like America. Of course, now America been doing it for a while. What was it? 13, what is it? Oh, well, Columbus showed up here somewhere. 1342 or some shit. I can't remember now. I used to remember these things. Now I can't. I don't know what that is. I think that could be the alcohol. More than likely. Everybody's got a video camera, recorder. All that was separate in my day. Well, you couldn't get a video. I couldn't. I didn't even know they existed. That you could buy them. So it was the more upper middle class that could get those. In the later 60s, early 70s, maybe. My husband got me the big one, like the television crew, and I think it was 90 or 91. So we used to set it up there, party on, and let it, run for 6-7 hours. And then the next day, when everybody almost sobered up, we'd show what the hell we did the night before. We'd had some pretty big parties, and we had bigger homes. This is a smaller home, and so like my husband went to get a bar, and he was going to get a small bar, and he called me and he says, "Babe, this ain't a small bar. I'm at a $7 million house, and it's too big." I said, "Did you still want it?" He said, "Yeah, I want it." It's a Remington bar, so it's got the big mirror and all that on the other side. It's got marble you can cut your things up with, and we've got a small refrigerator we stuck under there, and it's got the ice machine and all that we put on. So it's a big bar. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just redo the house if we have to. We had to. So we took, I mean, he took all and I wanted the carpet out, the house painted. And I was still, right after that, as when I was injured, when we started to redo the house, I got severely injured. So I was just nowhere to be found, really. And so he got it all done, and he bought new furniture. So the whole bottom of the house is opened up. And we had the two doorways coming out of the kitchen window instead of the one now because the bar is an L-shaped, well, it's a horseshoe shaped bar. And so we closed off the other door to get the bar in and the chairs and the bar stools and all that in there. And I love it. It's a much better flowing area, not as cramped. But I miss my books. I had bunches of bookcases, 4, I think, and all full books. And now I'm just lost because they're upstairs, still in boxes, because my son and my daughter-in-law want to move now, and they want us to move with them. They want to get a 10-acre lot, and they want us to be out there too with them. So this is I've never lived anywhere in my life for more than 5 to 9 years, 8 or 9 years, even when I was adopted. And so this is the longest I've lived anywhere. It's here in Augusta in this home. It's been almost 15 years. And I'm really in shock still. They told us this 2 months ago with, I'm sorry. And I was like, I'm going to kill you. Run. I'm old, but when I'm pissed off, I can be pretty quick. So I'm dealing with all this stuff as well. So I'm looking at the hippies to say, hey, we all used to come together at the party, grab a beer, call me on Zoom, let me know if you're out here for Masters. You just see me, you're here for Masters Week. Let me know. You can come on air with me. You can do it on Zoom if you want to, from anywhere in the world. I love this shit. Let's take advantage of it. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's find out what's going on. I for one, want to know, like I said, how many people don't believe in all of this camera footage well, I've been doing it since the 70s. So, but I mean, the CCTV footage, people's cameras, and the cameras they set up at home for outside, inside. How can they all be, oh, that's nothing, oh, they could have pulled it with a string. Come on. I mean, that's 40, 50 years worth of going in your face, bitch. That's a real ghost, or that's a shadow figure, or what the hell was that? Would you want something flying around your house? There were some that just made me just scream and stand up. They would have the people that were going and investigate because they've been doing it a long time. So, call the Ghostbusters, and they come through and they're looking through, and they've got videos, cameras set up everywhere, and you can snap your fingers. Like one of them will say, well, we're not getting too many rings. There's probably nothing here. And everything around them explodes. All of the drawers are thrown out. All of the blinds are pulled up. The furniture's in a clump around the room. The chairs are stacked on each other. All the clothes are thrown around in the bedrooms. There's stuff in the hall in 1 second. Less than that. I mean, I didn't even blink. And you heard this whooshing like sound. And that house was destroyed. Even the people that owned it said they weren't coming back. They didn't nothing in there. I don't know. They might have got personal pictures and stuff, but it was on camera as to what happened. And obviously, the ghost, the people that came in to look for the ghost, what have you, they didn't do it. That's not a poltergeist that can do that kind of damage when you blink. That's very powerful and scary as shit. And I've seen a couple of places like that happen to. I saw one, Mindseed. Hey guys, Mindseed. If you don't know who they are, look them up. They're great. They were in a cabin looking at stuff at 2 floors, and they were coming down. And the one guy turned around and to say something to the friend that was up there. And the guy was right there at the steps. And suddenly he was thrown back. You could see he was thrown backwards and gone. And last time again, then you could blink. And yet he got it on camera. His friend had been thrown to the ground and thrown across about 90 feet. This was a big ass cabin. and he landed up against the other wall. And they went running because they saw it happen, what they could see. But this had a wall on the staircase part, so they couldn't even see other than they heard him hit. They saw him go down, and all you could see was about from his thighs down. So you didn't know if he didn't shoot his back, his head, what. And so they went running up there, and they just stood in shock because he was, like 90 feet away, and he was almost unconscious. And they got him out, and they said that we went back and we got our equipment, but we didn't even want to do that. And while they were doing that, the whole place, this was another one that just went nuts. Things went everywhere. So whatever it was that was in there was powerful. And so I call on those hippies out there who want to have a good discussion about whether there are ghosts out there or not, whether there's something else out there or not. This rake thing, I'm wondering if somebody wrote that because they saw one or nearly got attacked by one, because this thing does what's been captured of it on people's security cameras and CCTV and all that. It does look like the rake from the movie, but they say, oh, if you can imagine it, you can make it, something to that effect. I don't think that's the way it was. I think it was the other way around. I think that whoever did that movie, whoever wrote the book that they turned into the movie, I think that he ran into something like that. And God knows I wouldn't want to run into that shit at all. And I used to ghost hunt. And after seeing a few things that I've seen one woman that was thrown out of her bed and scratched all down her back. And that stuff burns and stings like salt is in the wound. I don't want to go through that. And I'm old, so I figure I just live vicariously through whatever videos are thrown. This is why I say I don't put the videos up. I ask everybody if they want to see it, they have seen it. I'll put it on. If you don't, fine. Basically, I jump up here on live chat, comment, whatever you, tell y'all what I was talking about, because I'm a damn hippie and I want to see where the hippies are. I want to talk to them. It was bad enough they kept throwing everybody in jail. The only thing that happened when you got high is you destroyed a bag of Oreos. You didn't go out and shoot 12 people like they do when you drink. Now this is a victimless crime, and they're wanting to close all of the shops for cannabis. It's cannabis. It's not marijuana. It's a completely different thing, and it doesn't have any of the THC or any of that. I like the gummies. I'm a hippie. I got no problem with that. That shit wasn't illegal in the 70s. It wasn't. Cocaine wasn't illegal in the 80s. Just that's just the way it was. And suddenly in the 90s, fucking everything was illegal. I was scared to buy peanut butter. And now here it is, the 21st century, and you got a cold, so you buy some NyQuil. If 5 people walk up and want to see your ID, I'm old as dirt. You really? This is a cold medicine. What the hell are they doing with this stuff? It's NyQuil. But it's something else, I'll tell you. So those of you who managed to stay with me, oops, I lost that one. You could probably hear the crash. It's got the cap on. There's nothing in it. I probably won't be back up here. Let's see. Oh, I don't know, because I've got a bunch of medical things I got to get done on Friday. I may try to come up on Saturday, since I probably missed Friday. I'm pretty sure it's Friday. It's the VA. I got to have all kinds of stuff done on labs and stuff. And they're wanting to send me to see a neurosurgeon. And I'm like, I've had my fill of surgeons. Used to work for them. Did a lot of that stuff. I worked in the medical community at Fort Sam and all of them. Even as a civilian, I did. So, I didn't want them to actually be my surgeons. No, it's like they want this and that. I'm like, you can want all day long, baby cakes, but I doubt I'm going to go that far. So, if you've seen me, throw something in, hit the subscribe. It's free. You can take it off later if you don't like it. Tell your friends. All of us hippies need to unite. I don't know how much longer they're going to let us do this, especially for free. But I'm betting it's probably not much longer if they're already trying to revoke the cannabis laws. And before I ring off, I don't know if anybody out there has seen what's going on with Canada. They put in a euthanasia law. And in 1 year, 35,000 people were euthanized. 35,000 people in 1 year. Hippies, what does that say to you? Oregon is legal too. I love that stuff. So I kind of hoped y'all would give me an idea what you thought about that. That's a lot of people to die by the hands of doctors. Not that I'm disagreeing with this. If you're you're incurable, that you're going to go. Why pay doctors and so forth and struggle through that last 6 months, what have you? I would choose the other way out too. Just get it over with and stop bothering people. But 35,000 in a year in Canada, I'm just thinking that's a lot of people in a year. And I'm not sure what the criteria is. One girl was raped somewhere, and they put her in some asylum, and they abused this kid bad. They got her out, and she was almost dead, and they got her out, and they healed her, but you can't heal like that. That scar is not ever going to heal. And she chose euthanasia because she couldn't live with it anymore. It paralyzed her as well. A paraplegic. She wasn't a quadriplegic, but either way. And she was only, I think, 24 or 25 years. She was a young girl. And she chose to go. And I can understand that. I can. But it's always been frowned on by the church. And I know quite a few people, and I'm one of them, that think that that's an option. It should be an option, because I've had to let my animals go like that. You love them and mourn them forever, but you can't watch them be in pain for God knows how much longer. You just can't do it. And I can understand both sides, but I think I'd like to know what the criterion is for this, because that young lady wasn't dying. Now, being a paraplegic, it depends on what was damaged and so forth. She was hurt really bad. She nearly died. She may have died and been brought back, but she was still pretty young. But it was her decision to make. And in her case, and in a lot of cases, I'm sure I would agree with that as being an option. I would like to know what the options are, and I don't yet. I haven't even tried to look that up. So if any of you got an answer for me out there, throw that down in the comments for me, because my chat's going to be off in a minute. I think the guy will be here soon. Please, God, because I don't like to swim. I didn't like it when I was in the Army either. You do a lot of it in the Army. So at 73, I break out in a sweat. So I instantly know that it's not 72. Something's wrong with the AC. And I immediately go look, and it'll be 77, 78 degrees this time. And luckily, it's been very cool at night, so you could sleep and all that. But I can't. At 73, I'm getting wet in a bathing suit, going, okay, I can't breathe. It's that bad for me. It could be the medications. It could just be my age again. I don't know. So hippies out there, hey, man, hook up with me. Talk to me. Tell me where you are, what you want to talk about, if you want to talk at all. The Blackhawks, might show up. I love that. Come on down. I'm bored. I'd have a good time. Send them puppies. I love the mugshot, by the way, of Dottie. I love what he did with that. Then they got Prince Andrew. That's another one. They took his title away, and I'm like, he was born a prince. How do you take the title? You didn't give him the title. He was born a prince. I'm not saying I like Andrew in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm just saying I didn't get it. And as far as them holding the monarchy together, I didn't think that was a really good move. And I still mourn Princess Diana. And they could have taken Princess from her. She had the heir to the throne with her. She was the mother of the heir. So Queen Elizabeth II, I loved her too, and did not take away that title. But she was Lady Diana in her own right. The Spencer family's been around for a couple thousand years. No joke. The tiara that she loved the most with the teardrop pearls in it that Catherine looked so great in. That was her tiara. That wasn't from the Royal Crown jewels. That was from the Spencer family jewels. And she left several million to her kids. And I'm so disappointed in Harry. I was disappointed when his grandmother was dying and asked to see him before she went. He didn't make it before she died. Now, he'd been told the night before that she was asking for him. Instead, he waited because Meghan Markle wasn't there yet. And that killed me because he was so funny. She always cracked up with Harry. I think Harry and William, of course, I really do think they were her favorites, especially Harry. And I'm so saddened by what I see that he's doing now. I don't believe for a second that Diana would have backed probably anything that he's done so far. And he's not stood behind his brother, and he should. And all of that, it's for the family, it's for my kids. No. He wanted money. He didn't want to do anything. He just wanted all the money and do what he wanted. Understandable, he's still young. But I bet you William kind of might have wanted to do the same thing like he did in college. That's why they had him and Kate on and off again. Thank God I said it's the most beautiful lady. And Mrs. Melania Trump, she's a beautiful, classy lady. Love her. But I'm going to have to bounce because I see I had an extra minute, gang. So pop through and let me know what else is going on. I'll see if I can't get back Saturday. If I'm not in Friday, forgive me. I'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, stay out of jail.